You are Fabian Corley.
Yes.
We're on for sentencing today. Is there any legal reason why the defendant cannot be sentenced at this time?
No, Your Honor.
People move for sentence.
Yes, Your Honor, we do.
I'll hear from the people first.
Judge Jasmine Hines, the widow of Hubert Hines, is present in court. She'd like to address the court at this time.
I'd ask that you bring her up to the microphone so she can do so. Ms. Hines, you can either stand or sit, whichever you're more comfortable with.
I want to address him.
Well, you're here to address the court.
Okay.
You can either stand or sit, whichever you prefer. You need to speak nice and loudly and clearly into the microphone, because what you say is important, and we want to make sure that our court reporter gets to take everything down. Now, I see you have some papers in your hand. If you decide to read something,
I'm going to read something.
okay, that's okay. But sometimes when we read, we tend to read quickly.
Oh, no, I know.
Okay, so we just want to make sure everything gets taken down. If you do want to give us a copy of what you read, I'll make a copy of it when you're done,
Okay.
and I'll make it part of the court record, so that way it'll follow the defendant to state prison. Okay? So if you'd like to make a statement at this point, we don't have video today, right? No, we do. So I know that the reporters are here today, and they've asked for an opportunity to videotape the proceedings. I don't permit them to videotape any civilians' statements unless you consent to it on the record. You're okay with that being videotaped? Okay, so there's explicit consent on the record. So at this point, our reporters are permitted to utilize the videotape. I'll recognize you at this time to make your statement. If you want to pull the microphone over a little bit.
Just spell your name for me too, please, ma'am.
JASMINE.
And if you could just try to speak nice and loudly and clearly into the microphone, okay? If you sit, you're closer to the microphone, it may be easier. If you don't, you're going to have to bend down a little bit. There you go, it's on when the light's on. It was just on, so press the button. Yep, now it's on. So we'll recognize you at this time, Ms. Hines.
It has been 7 months and 25 days since my husband was taken from me. I do not care who did what in life, when or why. All I know is regardless of anything, my baby didn't deserve to die. He did not deserve any of this.
Ms. Hines, I just need you to slow down a little bit so our court reporter can get everything down.
The effect this has had on my children is heartbreaking and disgusting as a mother to watch them go through. Boys pee in the bed every night since March 7, 2017, and my 4-year-old princess, she wakes up out of her sleep every morning crying for her father. My oldest son, Seth, he's 6 years old. My baby stashes his Nerf guns under couches, in my purses, under his pillows, my pillows, his sister's bed, and under his pillows. And when I finally asked him why, he said he's putting them there to protect Mommy, Sanaya, and Ben from the bad man who took his father from us. I hate you. We hate you. Do you hear what I'm saying? I hate you with a passion, my nigga. I hate you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hate you. I hate you. You took my best friend from me. You took my everything. Everything. I hate you. Do you hear what I'm saying? I want you, don't hear me. I want you to listen to me. I hate you, my nigga. Do you understand me? Apologize for my language. I hate you. I hate you. We hate you. His mother hates you. His brothers hate you. His sisters hate you. His friends hate you. We hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Ms. Hines, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I want him to understand that we hate him.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
My kids require counseling. My kids require counseling. My mother-in-law, she in so much pain. I live in another state, but when I talk to her on the phone, I hear it in her voice every time. This made her bitter. Everybody's bitter, and it scares me because I don't want it to be ugly. She buried her firstborn son. Your mom does not have to do that. She gets to put gas in her car and drive for however many hours it may be. She gets to drive to see you. We don't get to do that. We don't get him back. We do not get him back. Your mom don't know what that feels like. Oh God, I wish she did. I want you under. I want where he's at right now. That's where you should be. You're not. It's not fair that you allowed to be blinking and looking at me with the dumbass glasses on right now. It's not fair. It's not fair. My 3 kids, they don't have a father. I don't have a husband. She don't have a son. Do you understand that? You can.
Ms. Hines, is there anything else you want to say?
Judge, please, my babies don't get to see their father again. I don't get to see him again. I'm holding on for dear life and just don't understand. My baby is gone and he's not coming back.
Ms. Hines,
And my plan was to read this whole shit to you, but I can't.
what we're going to do is we're going to make a copy of the statement. We're going to include it as a written statement that'll be in the record. Mr. Goldberg, if you can get a copy of that, I'm going to give the original back to her so she has the original for herself, and I want a copy for the record.
There's the copy written back after.
We'll do, yeah, we'll give her the original back after.
Ma, this really happened. This really happened.
We're sorry for your loss, ma'am. Mr. Goldberg,
My baby's gone. My chest, you don't understand. My chest, you don't understand what I feel. I wake up in the morning weak. Sometimes I can't move. I gotta wake up and I gotta look at 2 kings in the queen. I gotta raise them up the right way. How am I supposed to do that without their dad? Like my boys need their father. My youngest baby is acting out like I've never seen before. Baby's gone, he's not coming back. Okay. He's not coming back. Johnny's not coming back.
we're going to let Mr. Goldberg speak. We'll make her written statement part of the record. Mr. Goldberg, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, Your Honor, at the time that the defendant pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the first degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, the court indicated that it would cap its sentence at 16 years prison and 15 years concurrent on the 2 respective charges. I don't see any reason to go any lower than what the court has already capped its sentence at. So we're asking the court to impose the maximum sentence allowable under its cap.
Okay. Mr. Grable?
Your Honor, I apologize. Can you reach the podium for 1 second, please?
That's okay, you can, I'll hear you at this point, anything you want to say.
No, I just wanted to say something to the court, not on the record.
Just say whatever you need to say on the record, we have to move along. I have a jury that's coming in as well, so.
I understand that.
So I'll hear anything you want to say on the record.
Okay. Your Honor, before this incident, my clients have never had any interaction with the police, never had any rap sheets, no convictions,
nothing. He went to church, he helped his mother, he helped his sister. He did everything a person was supposed to do. He worked since he was pretty much 16 on. And when his mother moved from Middletown to Newburgh, he unfortunately followed. What happened was he got into a car accident and he was injured and couldn't work. And he made a very bad choice to start selling drugs to supplement his income because in his view he couldn't think of any legal way that he could do that, earn money other than this way. He was on food stamps, on Medicaid, but it wasn't enough for him to live on. So that unfortunately is where this started going downhill for his life. On the day in question, the victim pulled a gun on him. This wasn't that he tracked the victim down and shot him or anything along those lines. The victim was trying to rob him with a gun. It turns out that gun was a fake gun, but my client didn't know that. For all my client knew, this man who was known in the community to be a violent individual, a member of the Blood Street Gang, was going to shoot him for the drugs and the money. Now, he had a very short time to respond to this incident, and he chose poorly. He should have let Mr. Hines run away as opposed to shooting him. And he's going to have to live with that his entire life. I asked the courts to also look at all the good things that he's done in his life as opposed to this honestly horrible moment in his life. When the police were there, he walked up to them and told them he was the shooter. He didn't hide that he was the shooter. And he pled guilty. He did everything that he was supposed to do to show remorse because he feels that remorse. He wants to be that better person that he was before this and hopefully can still be. I don't think that 16 and 15 years currently is
Not enough.
Thank you. I don't believe.
Mr. Greenwald, I think you know better than to respond to something that someone said in the audience.
Yes, sir.
And you saw me not make a motion to the audience to please not say anything when I held my hand up. So there was no necessity for you to say anything. We can agree.
And I apologize.
You should apologize to the person you spoke to.
Then I'm sorry.
You can continue.
I think that sentence in and of itself is still too much. I would ask the court to consider sentencing him to concurrent 10-year sentences. That will be obviously sufficient time in my view. It will allow him to do all the courses that he can do, all the programs. Obviously, as these are violent crimes, he can't do any early release, temporary release, SHOP, Willard. None of those programs are available to him. So he'll be doing pretty much all of the time that he's going to be sentenced to. It's the amount of time off, as the court knows, is only about 14%. So with that in mind, he's still a young man, and he does have his life ahead of him that he can try to rectify as much as possible his life and can continue to be the person that he should be.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Corley, the law affords you an opportunity to be heard before and post-sentence. You're not required to say anything, but if you do want to say something, now would be the time to say it. I'm going to give you the same admonition. I see that you have some papers in front of you. If you do read, I'm going to ask you to read slowly so our court reporter can take it down. I'll hear from you at this time.
Thank you.
First, I would like to address the family of Mr. Hines. I would like to give my most humble and sincere apology to the Hines family. I pray in your time of sorrow, the Lord has filled your hearts with love, comfort, and peace. I did not know Mr. Hines personally, but I have learned that he was a son, a brother, a father, an uncle, as well as a husband. I am deeply sorry for all that. I am deeply sorry to all the people that my actions have affected. I cannot apologize enough for the pain that I have caused, and for the rest of my life I will carry the weight of that pain. Even though I did not want Mr. Hines to lose his life, the fact is he did, and I own responsibility for it, as well as any sentence imposed today. I should have not been selling drugs or possessing an illegal firearm. I would like to make it known that anger was not a contributing factor to Mr. Hines' death, but fear was. Mr. Hines held me at gunpoint in a city with a reputation for gun violence outside of my own home. He vigorously demanded everything I had on my person while forcefully jamming a pistol into my ribcage. Naturally, in fear for my life, survival instincts came into play, and I attempted to disarm Mr. Hines. It was a failed attempt. His grasp was very strong, and he still had possession of his firearm. In a swift, spontaneous reaction, I drew my firearm and discharged that single shot. From the moment I attempted to disarm Mr. Hines to the moment I discharged that single shot, only 2 seconds had passed. That's about the same amount of time it takes to unlock a smartphone. In a highly intense, life-threatening situation with adrenaline rushing through my body and fear flooding my heart, 2 seconds only allowed me enough time.
And by selling drugs. We talk about people, places, and things. I just lectured to middle school students this morning about those same concepts. I told them about keeping themselves out of places and out of things that would cause problems for themselves. You made those choices. You made the choices to sell drugs. You made the choices to possess an illegal firearm. And that put yourself in a position that you found yourself in. You then made the choice to fire on a man who was running away. Despite what had happened earlier. I understand the points you're making, the points your attorney has said, but the bottom line is you were not acting in self-defense, and you've acknowledged that. You put yourself in a situation where you wanted to deal drugs and possess an illegal gun. And as such, it's the judgment and sentence of this court with respect to your conviction for the second count of the indictment, manslaughter in the first degree, that you'll be sentenced to a determinate period of incarceration of 16 years with 5 years of post-release supervision. In connection with your conviction for the fourth count of the indictment, criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, it's the judgment and sentence of this court that you be sentenced to a determinate period of incarceration. That will be 15 years with 5 years of post-release supervision. I understand that that is the maximum that you can receive as a result of the plea bargain that was struck, and I appreciate everything that everyone has said in connection with this case. However, the bottom line is you took a life, and now is time for you to pay for taking that life. And that is the judgment and sentence of this court. In addition, there's a $300 surcharge, a $50 DNA data bank fee, and a $25 crime victim assistance fee with respect to that first count. The aforesaid constitutes the judgment and sentence of this court.
Ms. Reed is ready to, probably your honor, before we do that, the court didn't rule out the concurrent versus second, if it passes the record.
They will run concurrent to each other, as I indicated, by virtue of the plea agreement.
You have a right to appeal to the Appellate Division Second Department within 30 days. And in addition, upon proof of your financial inability to retain counsel and to pay the costs and expenses of the appeal, you have the right to apply to the Appellate Division for assignment of counsel, for leave to prosecute the appeal as a foreperson, and to dispense with the printing. The Appellate Division is located at 45 Monroe Place, Brooklyn, New York, 11201.
Judge, we also have an asset forfeiture agreement that given to the defense. We Mr. Corley is going to sign that
Is this other one my copy? Get a copy.
now. Let me get another one if you want.
Made me the aggressor. I am not violent, angry, or a dangerous individual. I do not think that taking a life is funny, nor is it anything to be proud of. Because of it, I live in deep regret and remorse.
Two families.
I've fallen into severe depression, which has caused me to lose my appetite, many sleepless nights, and tear-filled days. In the first 2 months of being in custody, I lost 40 pounds related to stress and depression. I became distant from family, close friends, as well as other supporters. Thankfully, God saw that I was in distress spiritually, and He sent a local pastor to share His love for me. I was reminded that I am a child of God, that God is merciful, forgiving, and His love for me is everlasting. Since then, I have grown spiritually, and now I actively read, study, and share God's Word with others. My purpose in life has always been to help in any way that I can, whether it was a client with a disability at work, an elderly neighbor who can't shovel their own walkway, a female whose groceries were too heavy for her to carry, or stray cats that I had fed and found homes for. Helping has always brought joy to my life. Your Honor, I ask you for leniency today based on several factors. I did not initiate the confrontation with Mr. Hines. It was at my home he came armed with a pistol in hand to do harm to me. The amount of time I had to react to a deadly threat, the fact that I immediately took responsibility for Mr. Hines' death shows lack of ill will. My behavior since being in custody at the county jail has been nothing less than perfect. I haven't received a single disciplinary write-up. My lack of criminal history, and last but not least, the character as a person I have always shown. The loving, caring, respectful, generous, polite, well-mannered, sincere young man that I am. I am not a menace to society, nor does my life revolve around illegal activities. I am truly sorry. I can do better and I will do better. Whatever the court sentences me to today, I know will be fair and just. I will complete my sentence to come home to be a positive influence in my community. Thank you.